right, everybody, here we go. Hi there. Carson Meredith with you, filling in for Brian on this Tuesday. He has the day off. He'll be back tomorrow. We'll give you an overview of the rest of this upcoming work week. It's much quieter, and we can be thankful for that. But it does feel like winter again. Who's a fan? Anybody a fan of this cold? I'm not. But nonetheless, we'll talk about how long this cold is here to stay. Give you an update on some of the river levels across the region. Some of the smaller rivers are beginning to recede. The Ohio is just now starting to get to its crest. That'll likely take place early tomorrow morning. We'll talk about that. Excuse me. And then we'll look ahead to that next rain chance we get towards the middle part of this work week. So without further ado, let's get you outside to the waterfront here in downtown Louisville. Oh boy. The water continues to rise slowly but steadily along the Ohio. That is River Road that is underwater right there next to Spaghetti Junction. But at least we have sunshine. Try to make a positive spin on this horrible flooding that continues across the region. At least we don't have rain in the forecast today. We don't have much rain in the forecast during the day tomorrow. It's tomorrow night when our next big weather maker rolls on through. Answer some of your comments. Who's here this morning? Blue is watching us on YouTube. Good morning. Michelle says hello. Sean says hello out in Brownsboro. He also hates the cold. Yeah, there's always a little cold snap in April, first or second week of the month, and right on cue, here we are. I think we got down to 31 here in Louisville this morning, but a lot of you were in the 20s earlier. Tim says hello. Michelle says good morning. Sean is here. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Just one day only. Brian's taking the day off. He'll be back tomorrow. Weather Geek says there's a strange light out there. Indeed. Strange light in the sky. Strange color in the sky. It's blue. It's not gray, right? I'm kind of obsessed with this Trimark camera down in the Bullitt-Howard County line. That's still the Rolling Fork River knocking on the door of I-65. Now, the Rolling Fork is one of those rivers that has already crested. That took place yesterday, and we're starting to see, although not seeing it much, but indeed the Rolling Fork is slowly beginning to recede. The highest crest we've seen on the Rolling Fork since, of course, the flood of 97. So we do not believe, now that the Rolling Fork has crested, that this water is going to get on I-65 at the Bullitt-Hardin County line, but is going to make a close call, that's for sure. I'll tell you what, I would not want to drive this ramp getting on 65 from the Joe Prather Highway. If you make one little slip, you're going to be in a pool of flood water. So still be careful as you're out and about. This river flooding, while some are receding, it's going to be with us for at least another week, likely longer than that. Here's the big picture of the river flood stages. You guys have seen these maps enough now to kind of get an idea of what the colors are. Green means the waters are in their banks, which is not too many rivers around here. Red circles mean moderate flooding is occurring. Purple circles mean major flooding is occurring. When we look at the Rolling Fork, where we just showed you right there on I-65, that crest occurred yesterday, but it's still a major flood, and it's going to be probably until Thursday before we actually see the Rolling Fork go into moderate flood. And then it's going to take even longer than that to actually get back within its banks. It might be until this weekend or early next week before the Rolling Fork is completely out of flood stage. So certainly a close call for the interstate in particular, but of course the Rolling Fork has caused all kinds of trouble in Boston and New Haven and other areas. How about the Salt River? A lot of folks down in Bullitt County, Shepherdsville, dealing with the impacts of the salt. Worst flooding there since 97 as well. Still in moderate flood this morning, around 35 feet, but the Salt River also crested yesterday, so it is on its way down. This afternoon, it'll likely be back in minor flood, which is good. And we expect the salt to be back within its banks, out of flood stage, sometime tomorrow, likely tomorrow, late afternoon into the evening. So that's where things stand with the salt and the Rolling Fork. We'll go to the Kentucky River now. Come on, there we go. So, of course, we've Heard a lot about the Kentucky River the last couple of days, the damage it's caused in Frankfort, further downstream, the evacuations in Carroll County, and it's still in major flood. It came within a few inches of breaking the all-time record, not only at Frankfort, but also at Lockport in Henry County did the Kentucky River. It came within a few inches of that record that was set back in the 78 flood. And it's still going to be in flood stage for maybe another 24 hours, 18 to 24 hours. Then it goes into moderate. And then it should hopefully, fingers crossed, go back below flood stage in Frankfort as we get towards late Wednesday night, more than likely early Thursday morning for the Kentucky River. So there's that. And then finally, we'll look at the Ohio here in Louisville at the McAlpin Upper. No significant changes to the forecast here either. Still in moderate flood, about 35.7 feet is that current flood stage. You just saw the live view of the waterfront completely underwater. That's why there's no thunder on Saturday, right? It'll likely crest tomorrow morning, really around this time. 7, 8, 9 o'clock, that crest will be around 37 feet even. That has gone up. That forecast crest has gone up just a little bit from the last time we spoke earlier this morning and last night. So should that crest of 37 feet occur at the McAlpin Upper gauge on the Ohio, that would go down as the 8th highest crest we have ever seen at the McAlpin Upper. And as we've talked about, it's going to be the highest crest we've seen on the Ohio, at least here in Louisville, since that flood back in March of '97. So certainly one we're all going to remember. And again, it's going to take a while for the Ohio to get back below flood stage. It may not be until early next week, as in maybe a week from now, before that Ohio finally gets back within its banks. And then, of course, we got to deal with the mess that has been left behind. So certainly a horrible situation, excuse me, along all of our rivers, but especially the Ohio and the Kentucky River and the Rolling Fork in particular. Those have really been the worst ones that we've seen throughout this whole ordeal. Let's see. Candace says, appreciate you guys. Watch all the time. Thanks for the kind words, Candace. We appreciate you being with us. It's been a wild week or so, has it not? Sean says West Point got hit hard from the Ohio, as it usually does, unfortunately, when we have a big flood like this. Sean spent the entire weekend getting people and their belongings out of there. Yeah, it's going to be a massive cleanup effort across the entire state, unfortunately. Really, we can't get the cleanup efforts going until we can finally get all these rivers back within their banks, and that's going to take some time. Cheryl's asking about the side streets in Louisville. I'll tell you, I came in this morning and, mind you, I was on the interstate quite a bit, but most of the side streets where I live were fine. Granted, I don't live close to the Ohio River, or I don't live near any big waterway. So it really depends on if you're near a creek or a river or a lake, because that water is going to rise just a smidge more in most spots. And we'll start to see most of the remaining rivers recede, likely starting tomorrow. So if you live near a river, especially the Ohio, here in Louisville, you just got to take it slow, plan some extra time. And you've heard our spiel, turn around, don't drown, don't even think about it. Keep in mind, some areas have completely run out of barricades because of how much flood water we've seen. So some areas might have flood water over them, but there's no barricades. So use common sense. If you see flood water, don't drive through it. But the side streets here will really depend on if you live close to the Ohio or not, or any waterway. If you don't live near a waterway, the roads are fine. If you do, you're likely going to have some flooding. Just depends. Adam's asking about the White River. Good question. I forgot to mention that. We'll look at the White River real quick. That's another river that's been hit or has seen very significant flooding. It was in major flood this past weekend, and it still is. So when you look at the East Fork of the White, current, it's basically cresting now, right around 36.5 feet, should be cresting as we speak. It's going to remain a major flood for the next 24 hours, and it won't go into moderate until tomorrow night, early Thursday. It could be early to mid next week before the White River actually does get back into its banks in Lawrence County. So keep that in mind if you live near the East Fork of the White. Really, the worst spots are obviously the Ohio here in Louisville, well, all along the Ohio, but especially here in Louisville. The Salt River, but it's receding. The Rolling Fork River, it's receding. And the Kentucky River, which is also receding. But the receding process, if you will, is going to take a while just because of the sheer amount of rain that we saw last week and this past weekend. Flood warnings continue as we go through at least noon. Still a lot of river flood warnings, of course, but the flood warnings that we have for the entire area, they should be allowed to expire here shortly. We're shifting away from standing flood water, and now we're talking about just the river flooding that's going to be with us for quite some time. All right, now we really shift our focus to the cold. It's chilly out there this morning. A lot of us were in the 20s. We're only going to climb into the mid 40s this afternoon. We might touch 50 here in Louisville. That's about it. Our average high this time of year is in the mid 60s. And it's going to be cold again tonight. Lows in the upper 20s, near 30, maybe a couple degrees warmer, quote unquote, compared to last night, but still rather chilly. Haven't updated this map yet. I apologize. But a freeze watch is in place once again for most of our area tomorrow morning. So if you had to protect those plants or the vegetation last night, you're going to have to do it again later on tonight. Next system to watch, that moves in tomorrow night. Going to have a couple waves of showers, maybe a few thunderstorms at times. No severe weather is expected. First wave of rain moves in late tomorrow night, early Thursday morning. We get a break midday Thursday. And then as a second low kind of scoots by, we'll have another round of more widespread showers and perhaps a few storms Thursday afternoon and Thursday evening. Severe weather risk looks low, and thankfully the flooding risk is also low. We're only talking most spots around a ½ inch of rain. If you see a couple of thunderstorms, you might get close to 1 inch of rain. But it's not going to be enough to worsen the flooding issues. Instead, it might pause the flood waters from receding as we get towards Thursday and Friday. It'll pause that receding for a day, and then heading into next weekend, we'll start to see those rivers finally recede and hopefully get back in their banks. Here's a look at the 10-day. Still much quieter than what we had last week. Showers move in tomorrow evening. Thursday's the wettest day. And because of the nature of these low pressures, how they're kind of diving in from the north and west, it'll take some time for the lows to completely get out of here. So we got to keep the shower chances around into Friday, early Friday especially. But next weekend or this upcoming weekend looks good. It's nice to have a quiet weekend forecast. I'm very much looking forward to that. 60 on Saturday, 68 Sunday, and then how about next Monday? Back in the 70s, maybe close to 80. We'll have to wait and see. Quick check of the comments one more time. We'll wrap this up. Keep it short and sweet. Let's see. Adam's asking who got below freezing last night. Basically everybody. Even here in Louisville, we got below freezing for a brief moment. Let's see. Cheryl says, do you think JCPS will resume tomorrow? We don't know. We don't make those calls. They've closed the last couple of days, or they've gone virtual because a lot of bus stops are flooded out. If we see those flood waters recede at those bus stops, maybe they go back tomorrow, but we'll just have to wait and see. Are the severe weather and tornadoes done? Savannah asks. Yeah, we don't have any severe risks for the next 10 days. Might get a little more active towards Easter weekend, but we're in good shape for now. All right, guys, I'm going to keep it short and sweet this morning because you've heard from us a lot the last few days. So appreciate you tuning in. Brian will be back tomorrow with Storm Talk, and enjoy the sunshine. Be careful if you're near any big waterways, and we'll keep an eye to that midweek system. Again, shouldn't be enough to worsen the flooding, but might pause those flood waters from receding just a little bit tomorrow night and into Thursday. All right, that's it for now, guys. Talk soon. You can see me on midday coming up here in about an hour. Take care.